Hello guys, in this video we'll be creating a file upload size validator. This will help us check the size of a selected file and display an error message if it's too large. So let's get started. Here's an application that we created a few videos ago, so if you haven't watched these videos you can go and watch them. Or you can just download this project from GitHub and the link is going to be in the description of this video. So here we have a user form that we created at that time and we are uploading all the time when we are creating a new validator videos. So this is the user form here, and into this user form we're going to create a new file upload input field. And we are going also to validate that file upload field. So if a file size exceeds the limit that we set there, then we are going to show them an error message and also disable the submit button. So if the form is not valid. So let's go back and start making this validator actually. So first thing here, into shared folder and validators, right click here and select a new file. So this new file is going to be, I'll just name it file size validator .validator.ts. Okay. That file, I'm just going to export default, as I have this this function here in this file, so I'll just export as default. If you have more, then you can just export them accordingly. So default function, and I'll name it file size valid. This function is actually going to get a parameter that is a file size or max size in megabytes that we are going to provide to this. So let's say max size in megabytes. And this is going to be a type of number. And all this validator is actually returning a validator. Opening curly braces here, and we are returning this validator function here. So return. And now we are expecting some property here that is actually control from our form control. So it's control and it is type of abstract control. Abstract control, and this return is actually returning validation or null. This depends on the result of the checking inside of this function. So here we have to get a file that we are actually testing here. So const file equals control dot value, and I'll just say as file here. So this is going to be file here. And sorry, I just forgot to add this. We have to check first if there's a file. So if file, then we are going to do the following. So first of all, we get a max size in megabytes. So this is how we are going to get that. Const max size bytes actually, sorry. So we have to convert the size in megabytes, max size in megabytes that we are getting here from the validator, and then we have to sum it like this. So we have to multiply it 1024 times 1024. So this is how we convert the bytes. So actually, yeah, it's going like that. So we're just getting bytes here. And another one, const we want to get the uploaded file size in megabytes as well. So we're calculating file size. (1024) times 1024. So we are inverting this operation here, actually. So this conversion. The first one is to get it in bytes, and the second one is to get the current uploaded file size here in megabytes. So what are we doing here? Just to explain. This max size in bytes, we have to convert the size in megabytes that we provided here. So if we say 1 megabyte, then we have to convert 1 megabyte into bytes. So the first time when we converted to 1024, it means it's kilobytes. And the second time is going to be in bytes. And then the size that we are going to compare here is actually uploaded file size. This uploaded file size comes in bytes as well. So we have to have the same level here to be able to compare the files. So this is the first time. And the second time that I'm uploaded file here converting in megabytes is because I'm gonna need this to return the expected file sizes and the current file size to be more user-friendly. I'll show you in a second. And here we're checking the next thing. If bytes here, so this is the comparison I just mentioned, then we have to return an error, but an actually object that is file size file and this object will contain actual size that is actually I'll send it as a string here. Okay, I'll send it as a string here. So it is going to be like this. So we're using the interpolation here. So this is going to be megabytes and max size in megabytes. Okay, let me explain what's going on here. So in this validator here, we are checking the size of the uploaded file and the max size in bytes that we provided there. So if this file size exceeds the limit that we set here, we're going to return this validation errors object that is actually object key. And usually if this is not if we are not providing anything inside of it, like the more information or anything, then we can just return true here. Otherwise, we can provide an object with the data inside of it. So when we implement this into our template, we're going to check this here and actually to check if this exists or if it has something inside of it. Then we're going to show the actual size to a user in the error message and also to show the max size message here. So this is it for this file size validator. And in the end, I'm just gonna return otherwise here. So if there's no file, I'll just return null. If you like the video so far, please consider subscribing to my channel for more content like this. Thank you. Okay, and now this validator is not complaining, TypeScript is not complaining about it. So we have this validator created here. So this is the first step. Okay, the second step here is to implement this validator into our component and to our form builder group. So we have to add another field here. So it is gonna be like, let's say that we are going to call it, I'm not sure, ID card, for example. So let's say that user have to upload an ID card, a scan or something. So we'll call it ID card, and it is going to get a default value as null. And now validators get our file size validator here, and we are going to provide as expected here. So you can see max size in megabytes. So it is going to be just a number, for example 5. That means we want the 5 megabytes to be a limit for this file here. So this is the first step. And the second step, as we are dealing with the file upload field here. So if we do it like this without doing some extra steps here, our validator is just going to get a string that is actually control value and a path to our file. But we want to do something more here. We want to provide the actual file and the data about the file upload size and everything that is needed for us to validate. So to do that, we have to add another function here. So actually, I'm adding this method here to check on input field change actually. So when we change something here, actually the file change when we upload file. So let's say on change, and on file change we are going to get an event, for example any for now, and that event is going to be like file const file, and we are getting the file from the event actually. So event target dot files from 0. So we are getting the first element here because we are uploading a single element here. And we have to check if file, so that means if file exists actually, then this user for, and we're getting the value for the, we're going to patch a value. So patch value, and now here in this object, we are going to add ID card, and we're setting a file here. Okay, so when the file changes, we are patching the value of ID card and providing it with the actual file instead of a string that we had already there. And one extra step here, we have to add this, that is actually this user form get ID card. So we are getting this form control and marking is as touched. So as touched. So this is why are we needing this here. So we need this because after this method do the following things with the patching value and so on and so on, we want to tell the template part of the component that we actually touched this field, and then it will trigger error validators and everything to check again that. So this is it on this part of the user form component. And now after implementing this, we're gonna just save this and we are going to our template here. So in our template, so after the date, okay, after the date, we're going just to copy. I'll just copy this email here and paste it here. So I'm just gonna say, okay, what we said to have like this ID card, okay. This is it. And I'll just change it. So we have to set the type of file, and form control we don't need in this case. We're gonna get it through the form builder. And what we actually need here is that we have to get on change something. So we're listening to the change event here. So on change, we're going to call on file change, and we're going to provide an event here. So just event. Okay. So this is it regarding this input field here. And we're just going to get the user form for ID card. Then I'll just select these. Okay. So when somebody touches the user form but do not upload anything, we're just checking the errors object. And if it's if it has actually a required field, that means that this upload is required, or whatever you want to call it. So, or ID card is required. This is the first error message, and the second one is we're getting this ID card, and then we are getting errors, and here we have to check for another error that we added here into this object. That is actually file size exceeded. This. So we are getting the errors object from ID card form control. And then if that errors has an object with a file size, use it and show actually the errors here. So one simple thing here, I'm gonna use it as exceeded. Okay, as file exceeded. And here after this, I'll just say the following. This file size exceeds the limit. Okay, file exceeds the limit size. Current file size is, and here I'll interpolate this. File size, file exceeded, file exceeded dot, and here we have to get these objects from here. So actual size, that is going to get the number in megabytes, and max size in megabytes. So actual size and max size. So exceeded. So this is current file size is this in megabytes, and we can just say max upload file and here file exceeded, and max size, I think it's max size. So it is max size. Okay, and now let me just check. Why is this complaining here? Okay, it closed this from group, and let's hit save. So we can now test this functionality. Okay, going back to the browser. So we can see that we have this upload ID card input field here. So if we go here and select a file that is actually larger than expected, so this is a 33 megabytes file. I just added any file that I found on my computer, so it doesn't have to be like the one that you're expecting, but this is for the testing purposes. So we can see the error message. It says file size exceeds the limit. Current file size is this megabytes, and maximum upload size is 5 megabytes. So we have to fix this as well here. So we're going back to the user file, this file size validator actually, and I'll just wrap this around them here. So I'll just add, I'll add the brackets here and just use math that's round. So it is just going to round this number. So we have a better view of it for a user. Okay, and then it says the current size is 33 megabytes. Also, you can round it to 2 decimals to have more characters here, more numbers, and more precise value, but this is enough for now here. So this is the first thing. And also, if I select file that is under the limits, then we can see that there is no error messages for it. So this is it. So this is actually when it comes to validating this file size upload, actually creating this file size upload validator. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you like the video and the content I'm creating, please consider subscribing to my channel, and thank you for watching, and see you in the next one. Bye.